Hi everyone, so welcome to our English class today. Okay. Well, in this lesson, we're going to talk about singular verb forms and verb-subject agreements. Or you hear them oftentimes, subject-verb agreements. It really doesn't matter which order you put it in. They just have to agree. The subject and the verb have to agree with the plural to the plural and your singular to the singular, whether it's the verb first or the subject first. Whatever it means, they need to agree. Okay, and so that's really what we're focusing on today, but we do have some other things that we're going to focus on. And one of those are your nouns. Now right here, this is simple. The plural S is really simple on nouns. You just add the S or the ES. And this makes it, so picture. Then you add the S and it makes it plural. This is easy. Do you have to have a singular verb or a plural verb on pictures?
Plural.
Plural. Paul, do you have to have a singular verb or a plural verb on chairs? Plural.
Plural.
That's a plural S. So if you see the plural S on most nouns, you're going to have to do a plural verb. So these are super simple, easy stuff. So when you come over here, these are nouns, scissors, pants, but these are difficult. Are these singular or plural? Do they?
Singular.
So these are singular, even though they look plural. Because, so if you think about two blades in the scissors, oftentimes those type of things, when it's really one thing, but it has two things to make it work. Pliers, pants, trousers. Those are one thing. So these right here, even though they look plural, they take the singular verb. Yeah.
I feel like if you say it like all of my pants, though, that would be plural though.
So if you say all of my pants,
Because of all.
You're right. Okay, so Daniel said, I love what he had to say there. So he said, all of my pants
And then you would use R in the laundry.
okay, in the laundry. Okay, this takes the plural, but why?
Because of all.
Because of all, this has now become a prepositional phrase. But if I said, my pants,
My pants is.
yep, my pants is dirty. Does that make sense? So if we say, if we're referring to one pair of pants, you need to use the singular. But see right here, since this, we don't take the plural off of our prepositional phrase. We do in some exceptions, but we have to look at our actual subject, and the actual subject right here is all. Nice job on that. I love how you put that together. So you're right in that one.
You can also say my pants are dirty.
It should be my pants is dirty. Are dirty, and he's talking about all of them, then you could use are if you want them to truly be plural. But but most of the time, if you're talking about one pair of pants, so then if you say my pants that I wore to school today, what do you use? Is, because you're talking about one single pair of pants. So you have to be really careful with pants, with scissors, anything that really can act as one thing but sound plural. Now let's read this sentence right here. The Washington Post and other large newspapers need to have amazing ethics to sort through all the garbage that is being reported. Let's find the verb. So need
Is being.
So that right here,
That's a whole different.
that's a whole different clause. So this right here is a subordinating clause, right? It's a dependent clause. That's what this clause is. You can't just say that is being reported, can we? Does it make sense? So this is dependent clause. So in our independent clause, what is our verb? Need. Okay, so we only have one verb in here. I mean, the one verb that attaches to the subject, because these look like they're verbs. I mean, they are verbs, but they're attached to the infinitive right here. This is attached. This verb is attached to this infinitive. If you have a verb attached to to, you know it's an infinitive, not a prepositional phrase. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we have the word need. And need, what are your subjects?
Washington Post.
Okay, so we have Washington Post
And newspapers.
and newspapers. There are your subjects. So now we have the coordinating conjunction, and that is telling us that there's going to be two subjects. Okay, so what tense is this verb?
Is present.
Is this present?
Yes, it's present. Oh, why?
It's simple present. And what tense? Is it plural or singular?
Oh, yes, it's plural.
So this is plural. How do we know that?
Because we have two things that we're talking about.
We have two things here. And so remember, if it's in the simple present tense, if it's sitting in the simple present tense, and is this third person? Yeah, these are third person, so it does not take the S. So this is your plural verb. So now let's change this. What if we change this and to or? Now what happens?
I still think it's plural.
Okay, why? You are correct. Because of newspapers. Newspapers is plural. So it's going to take the plural verb. But what if we switched it and said, large newspapers or the Washington Post needs to have. So whatever you do, when you are doing, when you have something like that, you would have to take the closest one to the verb. That's the one that you use. Since the Washington Post is singular, it would take the singular verb and put that on, and it would take it singular. It's very important, and we're going to focus on this, that you stay in your tenses throughout your sentence. Okay? So look at this. We have present and present. Now that doesn't mean you can't do your progressive present or your perfect present in the same sentence, but they have to, if you're going to stay in the past, stay in the past. But make sure you're using the correct verbs to keep you in the past. Or the correct verbs to keep you in the present, the correct verbs to keep you in the future. You just need to make sure that you're using the correct verbs, and these verbs align. These verbs align. To sort, they align. Okay? All right, now this is something really fun. I'm really excited to teach this. The word each and every. So if you're going to use these words, and we're talking about finding your subject and verb agreement. Okay? And so when you're using the words each and every, and you're using a coordinating conjunction, and it comes before your subject, then you're going to take, it's going to be acting as a single subject. Okay, for example, I used, this symbol is the symbol for and I'm going to start using that a little bit more just to save space. So I have Daniel and Paul hike the switchbacks each year. Now where is our each? Do we have an each or an every in this sentence?
Yes.
Yes, it's right here at the end. So, is it before your subject?
No, it's after.
It's after. So, since it's after, it's going to take the plural verb. Is this plural?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm going to try to stay, most of my stuff that I'm working with today is going to be in simple tense. Okay, is this simple tense?
Yes.
Yeah, it's simple, present. So we're going to say it's simple, present, plural or singular?
Plural.
Plural. Simple present plural. And so you have your plural subjects, which takes the plural verb without the S because the each is at the end. But look what happens when you put the each in front of your subject, Paul. Do you see this? You have each year, Daniel and Paul hikes the switchbacks. This right here, because each is at the beginning, this has now become singular. Because we're using the word and, it's before your subject. That becomes singular, so it takes the singular verb. Will and Chad attend college each day. Where's our each? Do we have an each? We have each right here. Is it at the beginning or is it at the end? It's at the end. So, is our verb going to be singular or plural?
Plural. Okay.
You're right, it's going to be plural. Because it's at the end. So we have plural subjects. That means we have the plural verb without the S. Remember, this, if it has the S on it, it means it's been conjugated. Each day, Will and Chad attends college. Do we have each in there or every?
Yes.
Yes, right here. It's at the beginning. So since it's at the beginning, it's going to take the singular verb. Will and Chad is acting as a single subject. It's taking the singular verb. What tense is this falling in?
Singular, present.
Okay, simple present. Okay, so what tense is this one?
Simple present.
Okay, so this is simple present, singular, plural?
Plural.
Plural.
It's opposite of what we kind of learned.
But this happens when you're using the word each or every. Okay? So most of the time you're not doing that. But you will be using it when you're doing each or every. Okay, look at this one. Every house and condominium on the block has their lights on. Do you have an each or every in that sentence?
Yes.
Yes. So it's at the beginning right here. So are we going to, where's our verb?
Has.
Where's our subjects?
House, condominium.
House and condominium. So we have this verb that's connecting. We have a coordinating conjunction. We have every in the front. That means this right here is turning into a singular subject. So it takes the singular verb. But the houses and condominiums on the block have their lights on. What's your verb? Anyways, I don't have each or every in the second one. The houses and condominiums on the block have every, look, let's do this. Have every light on. Okay? So now look, every is behind the subject. And so, what's your verb? Have. This is the plural verb. These are plural subjects. Every is behind. So every flavor and texture begins to blend together the more I eat. So do we have an every and an each in here? It's at the beginning, right? So it's at the beginning. Where's your verb? Okay, so there's your verb. And what begins? What's your subject? Flavor and texture. Now look at this. You have every in front. You have flavor and texture. So that means you have your coordinating conjunction with your two subjects, but you're taking the singular verb because you have the word every in front of it. Okay, what kind of tense? What is the tense of begins? Okay, so it's simple present singular. Okay, the flavor and texture begin to blend together the more I eat. Or every time I eat. I like that, Paul. So the flavor and texture begin to blend together every time I eat. Okay, Our every is behind. So that means we have our coordinating conjunction. That means this begin is taking the plural verb because you have plural sub. It doesn't matter if it's at the end. Where you have to worry about is if it's in the front and you're using the word and, the coordinating conjunction. Begin, it's plural because it's conjugated, right? This one's conjugated. The S means it's conjugated, means this one's changing for everything else. Begin, so this is simple present plural verb. This is another time right here when you need to be really careful with your subject-verb agreement. And when does it take the singular? When does it take the plural? Now we're going to focus on your ICS, and that says ix. But when you think about the Greek words, you're going to find lots and lots of science in Greek words. And ick is a Greek suffix.
I'm a Greek.
And so when you see ix, it could be sciencey. So you have to be really careful on how you're using your words and how you're putting things together when you're singular, with your being singular and plural. And this matters with your subject and your predicate. Your simple subject and your simple predicate. That's when it really matters. All right? So ix, when it's a science name, it takes the singular. Ix, when you're science applying, it takes the plural. Confusing, huh? Now here's the difference. The word isometrics is Greek. So since this right here is the science name, you're taking the singular. Chronics is a long length of time. Since this right here is the science name, it's going to take the singular verb. But look at this. His mathematics were finished by bedtime. Mathematics is now science applied. We're applying mathematics into our life. Now you're taking the plural verb. It's kind of fun. It's so complicated. Grammar can be so complicated. So that's the reason why you need to understand a lot of those other things, especially when the S changes when it conjugates. It's hard to understand this stuff if you don't understand how to conjugate your verb. And you conjugate with when? When we're talking about conjugating when it's in the simple tense. So when do we conjugate when it's simple tense? So it's third person, simple present singular. Third person, simple present singular. We have a dictionary word right here that we're going to go over. And so you guys are in debate. And so this is the main thing you probably hear about it with debate, because he does a lot of political stuff. So a platform, it's a policy for political parties. All right, do you understand what that means?
Basically making new laws.
Yeah, and it's their policy. It's what they want on the agenda. This is their plan, and it's their platform. Okay? When it's their plan, it's their platform, and they are wanting to share their platform to help you become their party on the political party, right? Mm-hmm. So now, when you have a platform, and you guys get to have a platform when you're in debate, a person has the chance to share their opinion. So you get to share your opinion. That's your platform. Okay? So I also refer platform as heaven. He is higher up. When you think about a platform, it's something that lifts you higher. And I think of God, and he's in heaven, and he's higher up. He's in the highest platform. He sits on the highest platform, and we have the choice. We either do what he suggests and have a better life, or not. Right? But either way, he is on a high platform, and we're going to listen to him. We want to listen to his platform. Now, also, a platform is logging information in the digital world. There's lots of different platforms in the digital world that we have. If they're trying to help you figure out and understand something in a specific area in the digital world, it's their platform. If they want to change something, it has now become their platform to help you understand, and they want you to come to their side. They want you to understand and then get you to be part of the platform, or to help you to be supportive of their platform, right? Now, a platform has a wide range of hidden meanings. There's lots of different platforms out there. So we had a sister in our church yesterday, but she just even giving her opinion, she talked about how in religion we have this certain platform, and she was talking about a certain platform. And so it's in everything that we do. Platforms are in everything, and depending on what you're agreeing with or not. Somebody has a certain platform, okay? So platforms are an interface, which means it's computing. You're connecting with, all right? So that's what a platform does. Okay, remember we were talking about platform. And Daniel, do you remember how you said it's a fact? So this kind of relates to what you were talking about. Group of people with certain principles giving sworn evidence. And Daniel was saying when the camera went off that he felt that a platform should be a fact. But so that right there, I think has everything to do, yeah.
At least when you're using it for like debate or like law stuff, it's more of a fact. But once you're it's an opinion once you put up your own platform.
Nice. I love how you described it. Okay, so now look, this is what platforms do. They think about something, right? They think about a topic or whatever it could be. Platforms can be so many things. They tell people things. They're symptoms of compliance. It's an experience. Something that you may have experienced that you want to share with everybody to get them on board and maybe help support you in something. It's technology. It's an overall intent. It's communication, has everything to do with data, and it's shaping what people think. All right, now, this is where I really want to make sure that you're understanding what a platform is. A platform should have value. All right? You should trust what's being put in the platform. So who's ever putting these platforms together should have good values. And the platform should be good. You should have trust in it. You could be able to trust this. It should stand above the other things. It should provide something. You could be able to depend on this platform that you've decided to be a part of. Should have protection, and you should be sure of it. When you decide to be a part of a platform, you should be sure of what you're doing with that. Okay, now we are going to go back into our verb subject agreements and talk about that. So nouns that look plural but are actually taking the singular verb, I'm going to call them unique nouns from now on. So what did we have? Scissors. See, those are unique nouns. Pants are unique nouns. Pliers are unique. So that's what I'm going to start calling them, are unique nouns. Okay? Now let's look at these sentences right here. Now we're going to talk about the subject and verb agreement in these sentences and make sure that they actually they belong together. So the fireman or a policeman arrives at the scene of an accident. Now we're going to make sure that these coincide with each other. Your verbs and your subjects have to flow together. Now we have compound subjects right here, and so our compound subjects have to go with the verb. Now I kept it in simple tense. What is the tense of our verb?
It it's singular, sorry.
Okay, this is singular. So it's singular. And what's the tense?
Present.
Simple present.
Good job.
Simple present. Okay, so we have simple present tense. So this is taking the singular. Do we have plural subjects here? It looks like it, but we are using the coordinating conjunction or. So you have to use the one that is closest. Is this singular? Is fireman plural? Yes.
Yes.
And is policeman singular?
Yes.
So is fireman plural?
Yes.
Is policeman singular?
Yes. No.
So this is where you can get really confused on making sure that these agree. You have to agree with the closest one to the verb if you're using the coordinating conjunction or. Do you see that? That's why you use singular here, but look at this. A policeman or the firemen arrive at the scene of an accident. So we have one policeman arrives in his police car. Most of the time it's one, and then if it's really important, then others arrive later. But that's not how it works with firemen. Firemen, a team comes in together. Typically more than two or more firemen typically arrive on a scene, but oftentimes it's just one policeman that arrives on a scene. So a policeman or the firemen arrive at the scene of an accident. So what is our verb tense here, Paul?
Plural.
So it's plural. Simple. Present. So we have the simple present plural. So this one conjugates and this one doesn't. This one, so what do we have here? Is this singular or plural? Policeman, singular. Is this singular or plural? Plural. So you have, when you're using the coordinating conjunction or, you have to make sure that it's one or the other. So you have to use the verb that is the closest one. You have to use the correct verb that's the closest one to the verb. So since firemen is plural, you're going to use the plural verb. And we're using the simple present plural verb arrive. Now this does not have an S on it because it's not conjugated, right? Once the S goes on, it's conjugated. And we went over that a ton in some other lessons. So now we're parsing these verbs and pulling them apart. So while a policeman or firemen help the injured, they ask spectators to not cause problems. I left out the not, and that sounds so funny. To cause problems. See how important these were? So while policemen or firemen help, so we have our verb, so we have plural, simple present.
Yeah.
So plural simple present takes the plural verb, and since we're using or right here, then we want to use the one closest to the actual verb, right? And look at this. We need to make sure that we are staying, if we're going to start our sentence in present tense, keep it in present tense. Okay, so while a policeman or fireman help the injured, what is this called?
That's a clause.
A dependent clause with a subordinating word right here. Your subjects and your predicate right here. This is our independent clause right here. These two sentences. During fire school, the fireman or the instructors perform the skills. What is your verb here? And tell me what tense it sits in.
The verb is perform.
All right, and what tense is it? We're going to parse this verb.
Simple present.
Simple present. What's singular or plural?
Plural.
So this is plural. It doesn't have the S on here, and that's just the way it is. It doesn't have the S. So now look, This is plural because this is plural. We use the coordinating conjunction or, and that is the reason why we only use one of them. If we put and right here, this would be plural and it wouldn't matter if you have to look at this. Either way, it would be plural. But you wouldn't have to go, which one is it? But once you use the word or, you have to be careful. Which one are you going to use? Am I going to use the plural verb or the singular verb, right? Okay, so during fire school, the instructors or the fireman performs the skills. What, Daniel, what is your verb here? Performs, and parse that for me.
Simple present.
And so it's simple present.
It's singular.
And it's singular. So remember, this one is the one that's conjugated. This verb has to match with this subject because we're using the coordinating conjunction or. See how it was the opposite when instructors was next to performs. Can you guys tell that I just got back from fire school with Richard? So look how this is singular right here. Does this right here have to be singular or plural? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter if the direct object is singular or plural. What needs to match?
The subject.
The subject and the verb. You can have lots of other nouns in there that doesn't have to be singular or plural. It depends on the sentence. In here, it doesn't matter if it's singular or plural. Sometimes, though, you need to make sure that you are following and changing things if your subject, you have to follow the sentence and make sure you are using plural where it needs to be used in your other words. But in this one, it did not need to be done that way. Also, look at these right here. We have the fireman or the policeman. What kind of sentence is this? Is subject sentence? Or
The subject.
okay, so that's what I want you guys to do. So this right here is what kind of sentence?
Subject.
It's a subject. Look, it starts with a subject. What about this? This one is a subordinating clause. So because it starts us with a dependent clause and it's starting us out with a subordinating word. It's really important that you change up your sentences to that it makes your writing so much better. What is this one?
Just a preposition.
This is a prepositional phrase. Now this might look like it could be a participle phrase, right? Where you call them INGs, an ING opener, but it's not. This is a participle, this is not a participle phrase. I'm going to call them participle openers. Participle opening sentences, all right? But this is a prepositional phrase because look, you have the noun. This is with the noun right here. It's having a relationship. There's not a verb right in here, so we know this is a prepositional phrase. So this opens with a preposition. See how we need a comma here? So see how we have different ways to open our sentences and it makes the way we write sound more professional instead of I went to the store, I bought a candy bar, I, or Lisa. You need to change it up a little bit. Crawling through the smokehouse on his knees, comma, the fireman or the instructor carries a large oxygen tank on his back. So that's what Richard had to do in his fire training this last week. And I want to know where the verb is. And parse it for me, Paul.
Carries.
Carries.
So this is carries. And this crawling is very confusing. This is a participle opener. This is an adjective right here. And it's describing fireman or the instructor.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. Because either one is going to be doing it. When they were training, the instructor showed them what to do and then the fireman did it. Okay? Does that make sense? This is an adjective describing, so this whole So this is your adjective, and this is your prepositional phrase describing crawling, and this is another prepositional phrase describing smokehouse. And it all goes on under the subject.
Simple present.
Simple present.
And
Is it singular or plural?
singular.
It's singular. See, this one is conjugated, right? All the other ones doesn't change, but this one conjugates. This is singular, so it goes with the singular subject. Singular subject. We're using or, so you have to go the one that's closest to the verb. Now what we put and right here. Now, could we do carries?
No.
No, we would have to do carry. The fireman and the instructor carry. And then it would have to be a plural verb if you use and. But we are using the word or, and so it takes the singular because instructor is singular. Okay, now look at this. Crawling through the smokehouse on their knees, the instructor or firemen carry large oxygen tanks on their backs. Do you hear the difference right here?
Yes.
I did singular right here because we're really focusing, this is singular, so I'm saying a large oxygen tank on his back, on his knees, but look right here. So it sounds better if I use the plural verb because I'm taking the plural subject and I use these other plural words, their backs, their oxygen tanks. See how that sounds better? Because I have plural right here. And here I use singular. So on some things it doesn't matter, on other things you need to make sure that you're using your correct words when you're changing things up. Now, parse this verb for me, Daniel.
Simple present.
Plural.
Sorry.
Plural.
Simple present plural. This is your participle, right?
Yep.
So we know that this is describing your subjects. So let's go ahead and just focus on our subjects right now. Right? Okay, so I'm going to focus on that. What are we going to put right here?
And. Or, sorry.
Or. And what goes right here? Let's put the first one on.
Fireman.
And then firemen. Okay, and it's going to be the instructor. Okay, so now let's go ahead. We'll deal with this in a minute. So what's your verb?
Carry.
Carry. So do we have a direct object it's receiving what the carry-in is?
Oxygen tanks.
The tanks.
And then large and oxygen.
Nice. Goes off of what?
Tanks.
Nice. So we have large and oxygen.
And what about backs? On their backs.
Where does that go?
It's a prepositional phrase.
Where does on their backs? It's a prepositional phrase acting as what? It's being carried on their backs. So it's actually describing carry. And so this is an adverb phrase. It's a prepositional phrase acting as an adverb, right? On backs. Sorry, it's so hard to write like this. Okay, so did we get everything on this part? So now, look how you can see how this functions right here. How you can say, oh my gosh, that is a participle. Remember, participle means you're sharing it. So oftentimes these INGs are your progressive, right? Your progressive tenses, and they are your verbs. But they can also be your participles acting as an adjective, and that's going to go right here. Crawling, and this actually needs to be capitalized because it's a capital of the sentence. Okay, so now through the smokehouse is what? Through the smokehouse is a prepositional phrase describing this adjective, and it's acting as an adverb phrase describing this adjective, right? And we have through, that's not fitting very well, and then smokehouse.
Is it adverb?
Yeah, it's an adverb because this is an adjective. Since this is describing crawling, this right here is acting as an adverb. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. I couldn't reach it. And then we have the on here. Now, what does on their knees mean? Go on. Under. Under smokehouse. They're on their knees. They're in the smokehouse, right? And knees. There. Okay, so it's really crammed together, but look at this. Now this is all the entire subject. The instructor and fireman are your simple subjects. This is your simple predicate, but this is the entire predicate. Okay, that's it for this lesson, and I hope you work on your understanding your subject-verb agreements or your verb-subject agreements, however you want to say them, and we will see you in the next lesson. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.